Oh my goodness, a lot. Hadn't always been a Christian. Had a little bit of a rocky life. Run with some motorcycle gangs, and so I've made some big changes. I think I'm a great dad. Very blessed with an amazing family. So, like I say, just happy with who I am and where I'm at. Haven't always been that way. I was a free spirit, we'll say. Like a lot of people, I was an alcoholic at one time. Dabbled in a little bit of drugs here and there, everywhere, and then I got saved, gave my life to the Lord, and all of it went away. Everything changed. So I have to recommend this life for me a lot more than the other one. There was always a hole there. There was always something, and I was trying to fill it with the world. And it's never full. You're never going to find it.
Very, very funny you ask me that question. Well, I actually discharged out of the U.S. Army in 2012, which was a very trying and sophisticated time period of my life, to say the least. And when I say trying, I mean definitely the negative sense for about 6 months, and then I basically got a hold of myself and recovered. I started taking better care of my health, physical and mental. And ever since that period of time, I've decided to dedicate more to myself and my health and mental health, both physical and mental health. That would be the change, I would say. It kind of went from, like you said before, when my daughter was born, I dedicated my entire life to her and only to her and for her. And I eventually realized that can get a little bit toxic over time, to where you're not thinking of yourself enough. So the past 10 years, I've decided to think a little bit more for myself, I guess I would say, to sum it up.
I've grown from 35 to 45, so new plateau, I think. Deeper thinking, more thinking about others and my squirrels than me. No, I bring them nuts every day and fresh water and flowers. And look, they drink for like a year now. Well, I lost my job when COVID hit, so I started feeding squirrels, sitting around, and sitting here, and there's an old lady that would bring food, and she would talk about there's no water in the park at all. So I kind of converted that, and I bring water, buckets of it, every day. I don't know, it gives me a purpose. Get up, gives me a reason to get out of the house, Yeah.
Wow. Well, the last 10 years, I have been living in Murrells Inlet, South Carolina. I am originally from Virginia, from Roanoke, grew up and everything. I married a man, and we took off and went down there to live because of his family. We have since parted just within the past 3 years, and now I live in Florida. Within the last 4 years is when my onset of my illness started. So I changed a lot. I had to grow up a whole lot. I was a severe alcoholic, to where now I don't drink at all. I never went through any meetings or any drugs or anything like that. I just decided I had to quit, and I did that, so I'm very proud of myself for that. But for the last 10 years, I couldn't tell you a whole lot, except I really liked living there. It was a lot of fun. But living there and working there is two different things, I always go down for fun at the beach, It's at the beach, the concerts, the nightlife, the day life, just, laying around and stuff. But when you go there to live, then that's all, work. You can't play with people who come to visit you. So it's a little different. Took a little bit of getting used to, but then after a while, it was all good.
Oh man, I got clean. I removed substances from my arm. I was an IV heroin user.
Ooh, that's a good one, because we started dating 10 years ago, and we've been married for 6 years now. I think I've grown as an adult, as a woman. I think I've changed, hopefully for the better. I think I've been more understanding and patient. I think I've just grown as an adult. I've become more of an adult now that I'm in my 30s.
Last 10 years? That's a good question. I guess you could say people think older, wiser, smarter. I don't know. I think maybe more mature. Had a baby. Changes you a lot. It focuses your responsibilities, changes what's important in your life. I think that's probably the biggest change in my life recently. Luckily, our daughter loves to eat, and then because she loves to eat, she also loves to sleep. So we're sleeping pretty well, luckily.
I would say my hair grew a lot. I grew a lot taller. I became an extrovert instead of an introvert over the years. So yeah, I really grew into my shell. I just really thought about it and just like, I don't really care about what people think. So I just talk to anybody really. So yeah.
10 years ago, I'd be considered a drink too much, go to the bars, chasing skirts, things like that. But I always loved God ever since the day I was baptized, maybe 4 or 5 years old. But in the last 5 to 7 years, things have changed drastically in the last 7 or so years. And now I see nothing but what God wants us to be. I see nothing but all the things that shouldn't be, and then I see all the things that should be, and I can't figure out why, so I ask God, and He tells me why. He tells me that it's Satan, and it's a spirit, and it's a real thing, and it manifests in many, 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 many ways. We as a people have to learn to love each other again. Lift each other, don't put each other down. Children, they need to know how to be. And if you teach them to be treacherous, they'll be treacherous to you. Be kind to your neighbors. Love them. We only have one earth, and God created it. It didn't happen with a big bang. How could a big bang make such a beautiful thing so perfectly centered in the empty darkness of space? It's a globe. We're on a globe, spinning like a strobe in a never ever ending space. We're on a globe, spinning like a strobe, and really we don't know this place. But on the ground and in the town, the people sing and frown. But God said, lift your head up to me and look to the stars. I am coming to you, and I am He. Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, I'm a poet.
Bro, you're asking deep questions right now. All right, hold on. I think that I've just gotten more in touch with like emotions and energy and stuff like that. So like I've accepted all sides of who I am.
Over the last 10 years, I think I accepted more that I like to do things on my own. You see, I'm now on a vacation on my own, and I really enjoy it. And before, I'm usually just joined groups and did what they like, and I think that's it, to accept yourself more.
Oh my God, I've changed a lot. I think that I get to be more mature about certain things. Like I stopped being superficial about like material things maybe. And I've learned that it is more important to have the love from the people you love than money or other material stuff, you know?
Oh, wow. 20 years ago. I was 20 years old. I was going to college at the time, and I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life at all, and I really kind of got hung up on that, not even knowing what I was pursuing at school. Went with the flow as best as I could, going through those 10 years. How have I changed in 10 years? Wow, that's a loaded one. You know, it's still something I'm working on, trying to get back to loving myself, but I have got a lot better at that overall, and just, I know what I need to focus on inside. It's really mostly that. Just trying to be myself, you know, not put on, you know, a face for anyone else or other people or anything like that. I think I've got a little more confident in just being who I am. Much more confident in the past 10 years, but something you still have to, or at least I have to remind myself time and time. But
older, wiser, you know, I have 2 kids. They're grown now, so they're in their early 20s. So that changes the dynamics of family. You know, I'm not toting them around and catering to their every need now. So, you know, me and my wife are, you know, more of a empty nest now. So, but yeah, things are good. You just roll along with life and, you know, stay positive. You know, as long as you learn your lessons, you know, stuff's gonna happen. You know, you just keep maturing. You know, you just learn from things that happen, and get wiser. Yeah. I've always been a Christian, so I was raised in a Christian home, so I've always had that in my life. I went to my parents sent me to a Christian school. It wasn't anything ritzy or elite, but it was a Christian school. So I've always had that in my life. So yeah, I'm involved in some church functions and try to keep that as a center of my life also.
I think with quarantine and everything, I've had a lot of self-reflection, so it gives me time to work on myself. I think that overall I've become a better person because I realize that everybody else in the world is also struggling, so yeah.
It's basically the same, yeah. Like that you just like realize that everybody else like has struggles and you have to always be there to help. Doesn't matter how much you help, as long as you do something good, you're doing something.
Wow, okay, well I'm 25, 15 years old. I was a sophomore in high school playing football, and now I'm 10 years later, I'm working at a steakhouse. I'm honestly very happy, I'm driving my dream car right now, living in a really nice apartment, and I have a beautiful girlfriend, and just trying to set goals to get to my next goal, One of my mottos is maintain and progress, because no matter how small a step forward, you always want to make sure you're going forward. And, when you set goals and do things like that, helps you get to the next frontier in life,
Well, 10 years ago I was 8, so I'm a lot more mature now. I'm more outgoing than I used to be, I would say. Anything else?
Wow, I have matured a lot and acquired some more discipline and on my way to a healthier lifestyle and happily married. The happily married part, I think, contributed a lot, that I'm a very free spirit and he is very disciplined, and we kind of meshed well for each other. Kind of fun to fall in love at 50, so, yeah.
I'd say I probably matured a lot. Started working out, being more independent probably, yeah.
I've gotten older. That's right. I guess if I'm going to hurt, if I'm going to fall, I probably would hurt myself a little more. Thinking is a little slower. I've been blessed. I have been blessed, man. There's no question about it. I've never been hungry. All of my friends, just about all of my friends are long gone dead.
I started taking medication and it changed my entire life, for depression and stuff. And I went from being really sad to not sad anymore, which was pretty cool.
I feel like I've changed so much as a person in 10 years, but I'm dating the person I was dating 10 years ago. We just got back together last summer.
That is me, yeah.
So it's funny you said 10 years.
Yeah, it's a pretty funny time frame. Beyond that, I think personally, kind of a change from being more focused on myself and my own things that I wanted to convey to people, and more trying to think about, hearing other people first and taking that as the primary lead in a conversation or in a relationship. Because I don't think you can really continue to call yourself growing if you continue to linger in that that previous state I mentioned that I think we all go through as we're becoming quote unquote adults.
Gotten older. How have I changed over the last 10 years? I would say that I have not changed that much, to be honest with you, but I've tried to be more empathetic towards other people, trying to understand the perspectives that they come from, whether it's a case of either they're poor or they're physically limited in some way or mentally limited in some way, and I've tried to be more empathetic towards that and see their point of view.
10 years, much more responsible. Physically, the last few years, I think I've gotten much older and gray. That happens when you have a sick parent. My mom just died 3 weeks ago. I lost my stepfather, my real father, my first stepfather, and my mom all in the last 3 years, all my parental people. So I think that changed my life greatly. Forces you to be more responsible. Yeah.
How about change over the last 10 years? I say this because I made multiple mistakes. I learned from them. It is making me a better man today.
I
I know we both met in college at Villanova, and
Yeah.
I know we've definitely changed from when I met you.
Yeah, so I guess we met
2015.
7 years ago.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I've definitely changed, and
How?
I guess the past couple of years, there's been a lot of growing up on my part.
Both of us, yeah.
Yeah. I lost both of my parents. They passed away, so sorry to take a dark turn. But you know, it definitely changes you, you know. They passed away 3 years ago, and I was 25 and now 28, so I had to, as a 25-year-old, you want to, like, you know, be happy, everything, move and groove to life, but sometimes you just got to grow up a little quickly.
As a teenager, I was just ready to like be older and just whatever older people do and like have like, oh, like I can eat ice cream. Well, maybe not when I was 16 thinking about ice cream, but like ice cream at like 1 o'clock in the morning. But now I'm like starting to realize, okay, like getting closer to 30, not getting any younger, and wanting to like stop and actually appreciate the time that I have now.
How have I changed over the last 10 years? Well, the way I change is by trying out new things. In other words, poor judgment creates experience. So over the last 10 years, I've been making all these poor judgments, and these poor judgments have made me grow into a better person that I am today. How have I changed in the last 10 years? Drastically, because I'm not afraid of trying new things.
I've gotten funnier.
That's good.
I raised 3 daughters. That's my youngest. She's 21. I'm a grandmother now. It might sound selfish, but it's really not. I'm just thinking about myself first now. I've raised 3 beautiful young women. They're out on their own. They're adults. They're living their lives, and now it's me time. So that's how I've changed from like a mother to an individual person. Well, that's the thing too. Yeah, I've been hitting the gym, and I just ran up the rocky steps. I'm 50 years old. I live to tell about it. I thought I might die up there. And yeah, I'm just whoever wants to join me on this journey, they are welcome to it. If not, I'm doing what I want to do to make myself happy. That's it.
Over the last 10 years, I've graduated high school, graduated college, and now I'm working a job. So I guess I grew up celebrating my 10-year reunion this year.
Oh, wow. I feel like I haven't changed much. I feel like I'm very much the same person, but I mean, I'm smarter. I have a career. I live in Philly, which is my favorite place. I grew up in the suburbs. 10 years ago, I was in the suburbs. That was awful. I'm happier. Yeah, I think that's it. Those are the only ones that come to mind immediately.
I like to believe that I've gotten smarter. Like I've learned to make better decisions. I've learned how to become more like independent and handle myself better.
So I guess like I used to be like really introverted, like never really, tried to do like social things, like go to social gatherings, stuff like that. Like I kept to myself mostly, and like in a way I was like kind of isolating myself. So like gradually, over the years, like I've become more extroverted, like and actually enjoy like doing things, like hang out with people, and that's like caused me to grow more as a person. So I guess like development from that. Gonna have like a weird sound on this video now.
So I guess 10 years ago, I was a 12-year-old, so that's crazy to think about. So I guess a lot in the last 10 years in a lot of ways in life. But I would say, like when I was 12, I really thought I wanted to be an art teacher. I wasn't like confident in myself, obviously, because who's confident at the age of 12? It's a little crazy. And then I think high school, I realized I was more into sciences and stuff, but I still wanted to be a teacher. And then college, I was trying to make my family happy by wanting to be a doctor, and I kind of realized that wasn't what I wanted. And so I just got finished with my master's program. That's where I became like more confident in myself and more decisions. And I was like, I'll just be a professor and hopefully do lecturing at a medical school. So I guess getting more confidence in myself and making sure I'm following my own path has been one thing that's really changed.
I've gotten a lot more like outgoing, I think. More like confident and talking and whatnot.
Yeah, I'm a lot more blunt. Like I'll just say what's on my mind. I used to be more reserved. I feel like it just naturally evolved over time.
Yeah, especially with being in college and being here, teaching. Like you just have to, you're put in so many experience or put in so many places where you have to just learn
Over the last 10 years, I went to from someone who was very much kind of nominal in I had a Christian worldview, basically, a biblical worldview, but I realized actually roughly about 10 years ago that I was worshiping the creation and finding my identity in created things rather than the creator who's the ground of all being, all knowing, all beauty, all goodness, right? So in the last 10 years, I've become radically devoted to knowing and loving God and finding my happiness and peace and satisfaction in Christ. Yeah, it's been like the best 10 years of my life. You caught me at the right time with that question. I had Liam, my first child, my son, about 10 years ago. Yeah, that's changed a lot.
I've become more outgoing. I would say the same thing. Yeah, I'm more open, flexible.